On a newly discovered continent called the Island, there exist powerful magic artifacts that the world has never seen before. Hidden in strange dungeons that people have begun dubbing towers. Many people have come here to try and claim some for their own. Be it for money, fame, or power, many have begun their pilgrimage to the island. With so many people arriving, some form of control was needed, and soon the city of Lugman was founded. As more and more people arrived, it was only a matter of time before some came with plans to take over the whole island for themselves. Now, unknown forces plot the city's downfall, and many mysteries about the island are beginning to appear more and more. 4 heroes have arrived at the island for seemingly their own reasons. Or perhaps was the island calling to them. Now, these heroes must save the city from unknown threats or face total ruin. Will they rise up to the occasion or be cut down before ever getting the chance? This is the tale of Lugman's Jest.
Tomas, having procured a ticket, set off on the island in hopes of gaining riches and perhaps a way to escape the slums he's known his whole life.
Evelyn was next, seeking means to support her family, having heard of a tale of a new continent with magical items worth a fortune, setting off with tearful goodbyes and some meager change.
Shira, having completed her training, had heard about the new continent with its fortunes to be had and new lands to explore, set off, leaving her home and new family for the first time.
Finally, we have Jito, a man on a mission to hunt down an elusive, powerful undead. He had heard some tales that what he was searching for may be on this new continent, and so he set off in hopes of finding clues for the murderer of his family. Our heroes, now meeting for the first time in this strange new land, each of them gaining access to the city and needing some new form of employment as they try to achieve each of their goals. They arrive at the Adventurers Guild, where our story begins.
Here they met Arud for the first time, the half-orc who was the guild leader. He informed the group that they had to pass a test before they would be allowed to become adventurers. He then introduced them to the man who would conduct the test, a dwarf by the name of Kragrok, member of the Silver Adventuring Party, the Shorties. We now find our heroes outside the city, slaying rats, opening doors, and solving riddles. The test proved simple for our heroes, and now they simply had to leave and would become adventurers proper. However, a voice sounding familiar to Kragrok said, "There are a few more trials you must overcome." Our heroes, with no other option, proceeded deeper into the trial dungeon. Fighting scrums, ghouls, and augurs, our heroes fought for their lives and managed to pass the 3 trials set before them. As a reward, they gained many riches, and amongst them, a strange pendant. This pendant seems to have come from an old civilization made with some kind of unknown metal with 5 different gems in it. Blue, green, red, orange, and purple. Our heroes then awaken on the floor outside of the deeper part of the dungeon, with the entrance to it being gone. Thinking it may have been a dream, they notice they still possess all the items they gained and realize it couldn't have been a dream at all. Confused, our heroes become adventurers. With Kragrok not noticing any time difference, our heroes are left with more questions than answers.
The next day, our heroes decided to try out their first mission, dubbed a cheesy deal. A quick trip over to the tent town outside of the city, our heroes meet Meowser, an elf. Meowser is in charge of a cheesery in the tent town and noticed something had been sneaking in at night and eating some of his cheese. After discovering some holes, our heroes decide to lay a trap and wait till night to apprehend the supposed cheese thief. After some time, they managed to catch the thief, a Grimple, and while interrogating this thief, they were ambushed by the other Grimples, sneaking up on them. After a quick combat, the Gripples gave up as soon as one of their number was slain, but in a panic, Tomas had already slain 2 others before noticing they had stopped fighting back. This enraged Jito, who confronted Tomas, asking why he had continued the fight if they had given up, but before the two could argue, Evelyn and Shira convinced them to save it for later, due to it being late at night. The party, having completed their first job, returned to the guild, but with tensions rising, how would the party deal with this conflict? The answer? Ignore it, as our party decided to shop before heading out on a new quest. While shopping and dealing with some other matters, our party met with the members of the Shorties, Juniper, Agni, and Folus. They met Folus, however, when he was dealing with some people messing with some of the merchants. Our heroes decided to help him handle the bullies, and together they drove him away. Thankful for the help, Folus asked them to deal with the aftermath and talk to the guards. He then quickly left. Our heroes explained things to the guards and met with the captain of the lower district guard, Kesh Rishi, named Peacekeeper. Tired from their long day, they returned to the guild and decided on their next job, called Things Go Bump. Unbeknownst to them, however, this job would set them on a path they could not get off of.
The next day, our heroes set off, not without some help. The Shorties were able to accompany them to the small town, due to them also taking on a job that was nearby, but mostly because Urd was worried about our new adventurers. Our heroes' jobs were simple. The town of Wolf Pine had been seeing some strange lights in the forest surrounding them, causing the townfolk to worry. Thinking it'd be a simple job, this would turn out to be anything but. Along the way, in the dead of the night, our heroes were attacked by enemies called Timikers. Outnumbered, but not outmatched, our heroes slew them one by one, but something strange was occurring. Tomas was not waking. In his dreams was fighting a shadowy version of himself for control over his own body. Despite everything, however, Tomas was defeated. Before the final blow could be struck, his adopted father slew the shadowy creature and told Tomas he must learn the secrets of his blood. Tomas, now awake, quickly joined the battle, with the enemies falling one by one. Our heroes emerged victorious thanks to the help of the Shorties. After the combat had ended, Judo nearly came to blows with Tomas, wondering why he had taken so long to wake up, and that could have endangered the whole party. Tomas, not wanting to reveal what happened, tried to calm things down. Eventually, the two were split up, but with the party still ignoring the problems occurring between them, things were looking bleak. Cautious now of what might be occurring in the town, they set off. Along the way, Bibble, Evelyn's companion, had noticed that something in the forest seemed very familiar to him. Bibble then decided he would take some time to investigate this and informed Evelyn he would not be available for some time. Upon arriving in the quaint town of Wolf Pine, they were greeted by Nell, the village elder. Before speaking to him, though, the Shorties spoke to our heroes one by one, giving their own warnings, advice, and an acorn. Shira was informed by Folus of a man named Seamus, and that he may know more about the town than he lets on. Our heroes then decide to split up to search for clues, with Evelyn and Cheeto going to find Phil the Druid, and Shira and Tomas going to find Seamus. Upon arriving at Seamus' farm, nothing was strange. The man seemed friendly, and his granddaughter seemed normal. Insisting on investigating, however, Shira decided to speak with the young girl, Abigail, and discovered there was a basement she was not allowed in. Deciding to investigate, Shira went down and discovered Seamus' secret. He was going Fayleaf in the basement, but before she could discover more, Shira was attacked by a ribcage and a floating femur. Not wanting to press her luck, she ran back up the ladder and shut the trapdoor. Tomas, however, noticed that Seamus was in pain due to a tattoo on his body of a laughing skull. Tomas recognized this as how members of the skeletal mob identify each other and ran to help Shira. Together, they managed to contain the enemies in the basement and saved Abigail and Seamus, although by this time, Seamus had fallen unconscious.
With our primary lead unconscious, they decided to wait until night to find the lights that were appearing in the forest. Once they set out, however, they noticed that Seamus' farmhouse was now engulfed in flames. They quickly rushed over to help. Upon arriving, they hear Abigail scream from within the house that is now alight, and at the same time, a figure running away in the forest. Our heroes quickly split up without sharing any words. Gito and Tomas running into the flames to save Abigail, and Shira and Evelyn chasing the fleeing suspect. After some close calls and some clever teamwork, each team accomplished their mission. For Jito and Tomas, they made their way out of the window and were confronted by a necromancer with the skeletal minions. Shira and Evelyn encountered the same, but on a riverbank. With a grueling fight ensuing, our heroes found allies in Nell and Phil, who arrived to help them. For Jito and Tomas, this proved to be enough to slay the enemy before he could flee. As for Shira and Evelyn, though, they barely managed to defeat their enemy, but he fled before the final blow could be dealt. And with Evelyn being the last standing, she decided to let him go so she could instead save her allies. Tired and wounded, our heroes spent the night in the infirmary. In the morning, as our heroes are preparing to leave, Bill rushes in and tells them to hide. Outside, there are brigands on horseback demanding that the village give up the adventures they are hiding, as well as Seamus, and state that they have the village surrounded and will attack should they not have their demands fulfilled. During the speech, Cragrok snuck into the room with our heroes, accompanied by Agni. Together, they explained that the skeletal mob had challenged the tower and won. With them now possessing a relic, they are extremely dangerous. Their plan is to split into two groups, one to stay here and defend the village, and another to attack the enemy leader before he learns how to use the relic.
Our heroes then decided that they should be the ones to attack the leader due to them being unsure that they had the strength to defend the village from the onslaught. Doing their best to help, however, the party decided to rally the village and grant some supplies that they had taken from some of their enemies. They also discovered that Seamus was now awake, and upon finding him, he explained all he could. Seamus started by saying that he was a part of the skeletal mob, although not willingly. He needed money to take care of his granddaughter after his son had died, so in exchange for helping him with the farm, he would grow flayed leaf and send it out via the mob's methods. He further explained that he had received orders recently to put some crates out in the woods, but he hadn't been told as to the reason why, although he now knows. He regrets his decision, but felt he had no choice, and Abigail deserved a better life. With the village now rallied and some of the questions being answered, they set out the enemy camp to take out the leader and end this for good. Volus had led them as far as he could, giving the party some items and advice before rushing back to assist in the defense of the village. Our heroes decided to take advantage of the clothes they stole from the necromancer and disguise Tomas as him. The rest would be his prisoners, and each of them dirtied from the trek of mud, except for Jito, who refused to dirty himself. While making their way deeper into the enemy camp, they stumbled upon the necromancer that Shira and Evelyn had failed to defeat. He quickly saw through their disguise, and a battle commenced. With the party now fighting as one, the necromancer did not prove nearly as much of a threat as before. In a final desperate attempt, he tried to kill Jito along with himself. Jito, seeing this, avoided the explosion, and our heroes faced forward towards the strange cabin that many non-combatants were seemingly drawn into. Arriving at the cabin, Tomas bursted in, still disguised, and explained to a man that his prisoners had escaped. A battle commenced, and while being a formidable foe, the man was unable to overcome the numbers and strength that our heroes possessed. Upon his death, however, the relic that was on his belt activated, transforming him into a giant demon. With Ayomide watching, our heroes engaged in a difficult battle. Thanks to our heroes working together, they proved victorious in the end. With the demon reverting to its human form, the belt tried to tempt all those who would touch it, except for Jito, to whom it remained silent. While exploring the blood-soaked cabin, an explosion happened outside. They discovered a hidden underground exit, but the explosion had destroyed much of it. With our heroes tired from the battles, they decided to return to town, while sending Tomas's minion Cookie to investigate the potential exit for the underground escape. Cookie had returned successfully and explained that he saw a bunch of bodies with two necromancers, but they had disappeared in a bright flash. Unable to pursue them, they continued back to town. Upon arriving at the village, it turns out the defense held and the enemies had fled. Despite the injuries and a few casualties, the town was doing okay. After speaking with the shorties about what had happened, they went to rest for the night. In the morning, Volus arrived by himself and asked for the relic due to it being related to their quest. After handing it over, he told them goodbye and set off. Our heroes then went around town saying their goodbyes, and Jito was gifted a broken sword. Nell explained that when he was a child, the town was attacked by strange creatures that had been defeated by adventurers similar to them. They had broken the sword, deeming it to be evil, and buried it in the forest. Many years later, its evil energies were beginning to affect the forest, and so Nell had sealed it away with many holy talismans and soaked it in holy water. Now he's entrusting it to Jito, for he believes that Jito may be able to redeem the sword. Having said their goodbyes, the party makes its way back to Lookman. The way back was peaceful, and after a couple days, they'd returned to the guild. Reporting what had occurred, our heroes rested for the night, but were soon awoken by knocks to their doors. Peacekeeper was there, and he was arresting the party under accusations of attempted theft of a relic. Now in jail, a relic missing, and our party being the last ones to have seen it. Things do not look good for our heroes.